Hey y'all! So today I'm going to be doing my March wrap-up and my April TBR, kind of. I've been having a little trouble trying to figure out how to approach my TBRs because I've been doing like monthly TBRs for like my wrap-up and TBR videos, and then I've been doing a weekly TBR video every single week. And I felt a little weird having both the monthly and the weekly because it felt a little redundant. So what I've decided to do is that I'm going to have each of my TBR videos every month kind of stand in for the weekly reads video that week. So even though I'll talk about the books that I want to read that month, I'll be focusing more on the books that I want to read over the coming week. So I won't have a weekly reads video for whatever week that the TBR video goes up, and they'll resume the next week. So I hope that kind of makes sense, but yeah, that's how I've decided to do it because I feel like otherwise it's redundant. So March was a fairly slow reading month for me. I only read one novel and two graphic novels, and none of them were really long. In fact, I read both of the graphic novels in one day, like right near the end of the month. So let's jump into my wrap-up. The first book that I read this month was The Body Electric by Beth Revis, which was the book that I chose for my TBR jar challenge. My challenge this month was to buy a book that I've been dying to read and read it immediately, and that is what I did. Now, even though I did read this almost a full month ago, I kind of want to do a video discussion / review video for this, so I'm not going to go too in-depth on my feelings about it, but I will give a brief description as well as my rating. So, The Body Electric actually takes place in the same world / universe as her Across the Universe trilogy. However, it takes place on Earth and sometime in the future after the trilogy. And for people who have read the Across the Universe trilogy, there are some really great little Easter eggs thrown in there that reference the Across the Universe trilogy that I really loved. So the basic premise of this book is that the main character, Ella, is able to enter other people's dreams and memories through this technology that her mom has created. And then some really weird stuff starts happening, and Ella is kind of confused about what's going on, and nothing really makes sense. And this guy that she's never met says that he knows her, and she starts to realize that somehow, some way, her memory has been altered. And like I said, I'm not going to go too much into detail on this because I do want to do a full review on this, but this was so good. This has definitely solidified Beth Revis as one of my auto-buy favorite authors. This was great. But yeah, this was a really great sci-fi dystopian, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 9.5 stars out of 10. It wasn't perfect, but it was so amazing. So good. And then right at the tail end of the month, I picked up the Lock and Key graphic novel set. I picked up volume 1, which is called Welcome to Lovecraft, and volume 2, which is called Head Games. This is a horror graphic novel set written by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. Also, just a side note, Joe Hill is actually Stephen King's son, which I wasn't aware of until about 5 minutes before I started reading these. These are going to be making appearances in several of my videos this week, so I'm sorry if this is a little bit redundant. However, I was watching Raylene's most recent book haul, and she hauled the full 6-volume paperback set of this graphic novel set, and I'd always been really interested in picking these up, but I've never read a graphic novel before these, and so I was, slightly hesitant to pick them up. But it just really got me thinking about it more, and I went on Amazon to see how much the box set was, and it was $90 for all 6 volumes in paperback. And I was no. And so I went and looked to see if my local public library had them, and they had the first 2 volumes. And I checked them out, and I ended up reading both of them in one day. And now I'm hooked, and I want to read all of them, so I'm probably going to end up buying the box set, even though I didn't want to, but yeah, they got me hooked. Like with The Body Electric, I do plan to make a full discussion / review once I have finished all 6 volumes, So I'm not going to go into too much detail about my feelings on these, but I will touch on some brief details. So like I said, this is a horror graphic novel series about a family who has moved across the country to their family's like old Victorian home. And once there, they find some paranormal things going on with the house and some of the keys in the house. So I was expecting it to be a little different than it was, so I will give you the warning to go into it expecting something closer to Saw than to Paranormal Activity. Like, I was expecting it to be a little more like Ghosts, but it's definitely not that at all, even though there are paranormal aspects. So yeah, go into it expecting Saw, not Paranormal Activity. So I gave Volume 1 8.5 stars out of 10, which is 4 stars out of 5 on Goodreads. And I gave Volume 2 Head Games 7.5 stars out of 10, which translates to 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. So yes, this is all that I read in March, and I'm kind of sad that this is all I read, but it is a new month, and it is time to pick from the TBR jar. So for those of you who don't know, every month I pull a challenge out of my TBR challenge jar. This jar is inspired by Kat from Katie-tastic. I'll leave a link down in the description to the video that she has explaining about this TBR jar challenge. And let's just go ahead and choose a challenge. I never know what to do or say while I'm shaking. Should I just shake? Should I talk? I don't know. Okay, I feel like that's enough shaking. Oh wow, it just flew off. Okay. Once again, I'm not going to look at the colors because I feel like I will rig it somehow. I don't know. I don't even think it's possible for me to rig it because I don't know what's on each color. Okay. I've picked my piece of paper and it is green. I have no idea what I wrote on green. Okay. The challenge is read a book you've owned for a year but still haven't read, aka a book you've been putting off. I think I know what it's time for. And the book that I have chosen for this challenge is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I have had this book for, about a year. I think I bought it in March of last year, so it has been approximately a year since I bought this book. This was actually going to go on my TBR for like May, because I had some other books that I was planning to read in April, but it has now gotten pushed up. So yeah, I will be reading Cinder this month for my TBR jar challenge. Before that, however, let me talk about the books that I plan on reading this week. It's going to be pretty much the same as last week. I'm going to continue rereading the Bone Season, and then I'm going to jump into the Mime Order. I mean, I've been saying this for a few weeks now, so I mean, maybe it won't happen, but the Lock and Key graphic novel set did get me kind of out of my slump a little bit, and I do feel like reading, so I will probably finish these two sometime this week, and plus my Easter break is going on probably right when this video goes up. So yeah, I will have plenty of time to read. And then if there is still time left in the month after I finish all 3 of those books, I will then continue on to the 2nd and 3rd books of the Lunar Chronicles, which are Scarlet and Cress. So these are the 5 books that I will hopefully be getting to in April. That was actually surprisingly a little bit easier than I thought it would be. I figured I would get something really difficult for my challenge and then have to figure it out, but yeah, that was actually pretty painless. So that is it for my March wrap-up and my April TBR. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite book that you read this month was. Mine was obviously The Body Electric. Really loved it. Would recommend for sure. Will be doing a review for it. And let me know down in the comments what you're planning on reading in April as well. As always, I will leave links down in the description to my blog and to my Twitter and to my Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I would love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!